On June 12, 1950, a small Midwestern town held its annual waterworks celebration, only to see the crowd erupt into frantic screams when a flyer was thrust into the microphone. "Communist poison in our tap. Fluoride is a weapon." That single shouted accusation ignited a firestorm that would grip the nation for months, turning a public health triumph into a full-blown political witch hunt. The story began a few years earlier, in the quiet streets of Grand Rapids, Michigan. In 1945, researchers discovered that a trace of fluoride, just 1 part per million, could dramatically reduce cavities in children. The city's health officials, eager to combat the dental decay that plagued post-war America, began adding the mineral to the municipal water supply. The results were striking. Within 2 years, the rate of tooth decay in schoolchildren dropped by nearly 40%. News of the success traveled fast, and by 1949, more than 27 cities across the United States had embraced fluoridation as a modern marvel of preventive medicine. But the optimism of dentists and public health officials collided with a nation gripped by Cold War paranoia. In the late 1940s, the Red Scare had turned ordinary debates into battles for the soul of America. Communists were alleged to have infiltrated every institution, and any policy that seemed to be imposed from above was suspect. It was in this charged atmosphere that a fringe group of activists, calling themselves the Citizens for Pure Water, seized upon fluoridation as proof of a covert Soviet agenda. Their pamphlet, titled "The Communist Fluoride Plot," claimed that the mineral was a neurotoxin designed to dull American minds and make citizens more pliable to Marxist doctrine. The pamphlet spread like wildfire, amplified by sensational radio broadcasts and a series of lurid newspaper editorials. One headline in a Chicago daily read, "Poison in the Pipes, Fluoride, the Communists' Secret Weapon." The accusations were not merely rhetorical. They were bolstered by a fabricated scientific report that claimed fluoride could cause brain lesions, infertility, and even leukemia. The report was signed by a Dr. Harold W. Vance, a former Army pathologist whose credentials were later exposed as largely fictional. Yet the fear it generated was real, and it soon forced the federal government to act. In early 1950, the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, convened a special hearing to investigate the alleged subversive influence behind the fluoridation program. The hearing, televised nationally, featured a dramatic exchange between a government scientist, Dr. Edward L. Stevens, who testified that the addition of fluoride at 1 ppm is chemically inert and has been rigorously tested for safety, and a fervent anti-fluoridation activist, MS, Eleanor Hart, who shouted, "It's a poison, it's a plot." The committee's chairman, Representative Richard B. Rogers, declared that the nation could not ignore the possibility that our drinking water has been weaponized by an enemy state. Amid the political theater, a tragic incident gave the controversy a visceral human face. In May 1950, a 3-year-old boy named Tommy Miller from the town of Dayton, Ohio, fell ill with severe vomiting, seizures, and ultimately died despite intensive care. The Miller family, staunch opponents of fluoridated water, immediately blamed the municipal supply, claiming that a sudden increase in fluoride concentration had killed their son. The city's health department ordered an emergency autopsy, performed by Dr. Margaret L. Hayes, a renowned forensic pathologist. Dr. Hayes' findings were meticulously recorded in a 12-page report that would later be dissected in newspapers and political cartoons alike. The autopsy revealed that Tommy's stomach contained a fluoride concentration of 8 mg per liter, significantly higher than the 1 mg per liter standard. However, the report also noted that the elevated level was consistent with accidental ingestion of a commercial toothpaste, which at the time contained a fluoride concentration 10 times higher than the water supply. The pathologist concluded, "There is no evidence that the municipal water contributed to the fatal outcome. The cause of death appears to be acute fluoride toxicity from a non-water source. Despite the scientific clarity, the Miller case became a rallying point for the anti-fluoridation movement. Newspapers ran headlines such as "Fluoride Murder," "Child Killed by Government Added Poison," while political cartoonists depicted Uncle Sam pouring a sinister green liquid into a glass, with a skull and crossbones hovering above. The case was thrust into the courts, where a group of parents sued the city of Dayton, demanding the cessation of fluoridation and compensation for the loss of their child. The trial, held in the fall of 1950, was a media spectacle. Prosecutors argued that the city had acted recklessly by adding a toxic chemical without proper public consent, while defense attorneys called upon Dr. Stevens and Dr. Hayes to testify. Dr. Stevens reiterated the decades of research showing fluoride's safety at low concentrations, while Dr. Hayes walked the courtroom through her autopsy findings, emphasizing the accidental ingestion of toothpaste as the true culprit. After weeks of testimony, the jury returned a verdict in favor of the city, concluding that there was no causative link between municipal fluoridation and the child's death. The judge ordered the plaintiffs to bear the court costs, a decision that was celebrated by health officials but condemned by anti-fluoridation activists as a miscarriage of justice. In the months that followed, the federal government, spurred by the public outcry and the political pressure from HUAC, commissioned a comprehensive review of fluoride safety. Subscribe to the Autopsy Files for more stories like this.